Garrett informed me earlier that you're actually straight.
Yes. Tell us about that.
I would love to hear your perspective on being straight and being on a gay rugby team.
I learned that it was a gay and inclusive club after the fact. I don't give a shit. This is the right place for me.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Gay Rugby Podcast. We are here in beautiful Palm Springs, California for the Rucktacular Rugby Tournament, and we are joined by Fog Rugby, San Francisco's inclusive rugby team, and today we have Garrett and Daniel. How's it going, guys?
Going good. Thanks for having us.
Doing good. So good to be here.
Absolutely. We're very excited to talk to y'all, learn about your history playing rugby, the history of the Fog, and then ask you some fun questions and get into it.
Yeah, I hope you guys are ready.
Oh, we are prepped.
I love that.
Which kind?
I don't know. I think it's that one that you get in your arm.
You have that good insurance.
Let's get ready to rock. This episode was sponsored by Hey Sweet Cheeks. Here at the Gay Rugby Podcast, we care about showing up at your best.
Spoken like a true back.
You want to be your most confident self, and that's exactly what Hey Sweet Cheeks is all about. They make clean, gentle skincare and intimate care for all identities, all expressions, and all bodies. It's confidence without compromise. So whether you're hitting the pitch, the gym, or the dance floor, get yourself prepped to play with Hey Sweet Cheeks. San Francisco Fog Rugby Club was one of the first inclusive rugby clubs to form, I believe in 2001, but correct me if I'm wrong.
2000, I feel like.
It was in 2000.
It was 2000. Okay. I'll let you speak on it. If you could tell us a little bit about the history of the club, when it started, and kind of how that came about.
Yeah, so the club started back in 2000. Derek Mickle got together with a bunch of other folks in the San Francisco Bay Area through chat rooms and bars and
AOL.
Literally AOL chat rooms back in the day.
M4M.
Yeah, times have changed.
And they got together and realized, they had seen Manchester come through with kind of the first team. They had seen Washington come through as well with the Renegades. And they thought, if not San Francisco, why not San Francisco, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
And so got together. That was kind of that brain trust. There was a bunch of folks who kind of got together, had that first practice. And it really just grew from there. So it was quite a group that came together and had that vision. And we're just so excited. What was 5-6 guys in that first kind of meeting, first practice, who showed up in I think a parking lot, to now have 75 players traveling for tournaments, 80, 90 people out on pitches, 150 people coming through our rugby program or rookie program every year now. It's quite a wild ride. I've been on the club now. This is my 16th season. And it's just been so exciting to see the club kind of go through all of these different iterations.
And what do you think the catalyst was for this big uptick in new players recently?
Yeah, I think it's been a lot of things, right? I don't think there's ever one thing that creates some kind of big spike. Because, we had a great team when I started. And we stayed kind of consistent for a while. I think really 2018, 2019, we started to build some good momentum. Obviously, COVID hit, and that was really a hard time for a lot of clubs. We saw a lot of clubs around us fold.
Yeah.
There's a lot of teams that just don't exist anymore, and it's really, really sad to see. But I think that same period, it gave us a moment to pause and refocus inward and figure out what is it that we want to be. And I think we found real strength in the community that we had, and it was what a lot of people found a way to get through COVID in. And then I think coming after COVID, it was an opportunity for people to say let's go, let's be out there, let's do this. Yeah. And it was this opportunity to have that outlet that wasn't available for so long. And I think that was part of it. I think it was we had this core that was there and ready to grow and had that nucleus. I think, honestly, I'll give some props here to Garrett, but coming over, I think our marketing strategy kind of really changed. And it was, how do we take the community that we've always had? How do we showcase this in a new way? Highlight the good rugby that we have been doing, but also highlight the fun and the community and all of those aspects as well, and build this balance. And I think that's what's been so exciting to see that really pay dividends over the last couple of years.
Yeah. Garrett, I know you alluded to this earlier with marketing and just kind of like letting everyone know that the Fog is there. You had a very viral reel that...
a couple.
Well, yeah, a couple. But I remember getting it. This was in my inbox, I think, like every 10 minutes.
Oh, God. This is my glasses?
Yes.
No. My glasses. I can't find them anywhere. Oh.
Everyone was sending that to me.
That was so unexpected for no reason, because, and I'm sure you can relate to this, like, do you ever have moments where you'll, like, really think about making a joke, and you'll spend, like, and you'll craft it, and you'll take, like, a whole bunch of takes? This was just some crazy nonsense that me, like, I just wasn't warming up, and it was at Pathways, and I just handed the phone to somebody that I did not, we'd never made it, I was just like, here, hold this. I don't know, but I guess it just goes to show. It was a lot of fun.
I mean, you don't know what's gonna hit until it does, right? Like, it's part of the creative process.
Yeah.
It's true, and I said something similar to my parents when they messaged me, back
when they saw the video.
Well, my parents live on a farm in Alabama, and I do not have I have my social media account now, and then I have my decoy. That I haven't updated since college, and that somehow made its way to them. They saw this, and they were like, "We thought you weren't on social." I said, "Well, I play rugby. It's very important. It's very important to show people that there's a space where they can, feel comfortable and be themselves." And I think it speaks. I just wanted to add on to something that Daniel, you were saying a minute ago. Something that I found really surprising is that the year that I joined, I think our Pathways class was about 20 people, maybe 30, and it was pretty good. Retention was great, and then after sort of like the next year, viral moments like that can, like, y'all know what it's like. You have a really big Pathways class, but then there wasn't as much of a drop off at all. Like it was really bringing in a lot of people that are that found the experience so rewarding that it was almost like, I don't know, do people still call it evangelical marketing? Is that a thing? I don't know. Maybe avoid the E word. But they I don't
know. I don't know how I feel about that.
It's a lot of word of mouth. It's a lot of word of mouth, and people inviting their friends and stuff like that afterwards. And I think that's been what allowed it to kind of carry into this year as well.
Yeah, I feel like social media has been such a game changer for recruiting. I know in the early days of the gay rugby community, you had to go in person, recruit people, go to the bars, talk to people, get them interested. And it's been so cool and exciting to see all the different clubs, Fog, Rebellion, posting content and getting just this huge uptick of people who are interested in the sport, maybe have never played before, and then having them actually stick around. And find out that they're good at sports. That was kind of my trajectory, is I never played sports as a kid, and I wasn't sure that I was even good at it. And then all of a sudden I joined a gay rugby team, and I'm like, oh, like I can catch a ball, I can tackle, I can do all these things.
And I don't know if you remember when we were on the Barbarians team or the Ferals in Orem together.
Yeah, oh God, that was fun.
I remember during warm-ups, because they were still trying to figure out what, our poor coach trying to like herd cats and figure out who knows how to do what.
Yeah.
And I think I can't remember who it was, but somebody pointed and they said, Jack can do this turbocharge thing, watch. And you like gotten, like the right before the scrum position and just trucked through the rest of it.
Yeah, he does that. Yep.
That's my favorite thing. I actually...
You can really pounce.
You know what?
It actually... hell of a pounce.
It goes back to a traumatic experience in my childhood. I was at a sleepover.
Girl meets
and all of the... there was like, 10 boys. It was Michael's birthday. We ordered Domino's. We were playing Grand Theft Auto. And then everyone just decided to pick on me. And like form a circle around me, and like at one point,
sounds like fun. Actually,
I charged the line and I broke through and I like kind of beat everyone up. And so that's the energy that I'm channeling on the rugby pitch from my childhood trauma when I was like 10 years old.
That's not where I thought
Michael
that was
Jagodnik's
going,
house. Appreciate you.
I think one of the other things that I really appreciate is that what we've found in terms of retention is that we're getting a lot of people who come in here and find a love for the sport and a passion for the sport, and that like they're good at something that they never thought they'd be able to do, right? And I think that's so incredible to like see that light switch go on for people as someone who grew up playing sports and playing baseball and football and soccer. And, you know, it was like, so for me, that was like a kind of a natural transition into like, I started rugby in college and did that. But like seeing that transition is great. I think what we've also seen is that there's people who come and realize that rugby isn't necessarily the sport for them.
Yes.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
But they stick around because of the broader community that is built. And I think you have both of those, that we can have like this incredibly competitive, like really good, high quality rugby team, and also this incredible, vibrant, like supportive community at the same time of folks who have like, they maybe play every once in a while, maybe they play like tournaments like Rectacular.
Yeah.
But they're like, maybe not like all the time. Like I'm going into my 6th surgery from a rugby injury next week.
Good luck.
You'll be at practice.
Will we
Tuesday.
see you on
I'll
the
be,
pitch?
I will not be on the pitch tomorrow, unfortunately. My surgeon would not love that. But like, it's not the sport for everybody, and that's okay. But what I love about the Fog is that understanding that maybe this isn't the sport for everyone. I do believe this can be the team for them, irrespective of whether or not they're on the pitch.
Yeah, I think people look for a safe space, and they go looking for rugby, thinking like, well, let me try this out. Maybe I'll do well, maybe I won't. But like you said, at the end of the day, you create a safe space, and so people feel comfortable coming back. And so we need supporters. So even if you are not there's a rugby team in your area, but you want to support a rugby team, seek them out. It could be the Fog, it could be the LA Rebellion, or anyone else. It's expensive to play rugby. Everything costs money.
Yes, and I have a great suggestion for anybody that wants to do that, but they're not really quite sure how to approach it. Follow their social, and they will tell you where their games are. Bring a bag of orange slices.
Oh my God!
You will be the most popular. You will make friends.
Yeah.
And that's what I would do. Sometimes I wish I could go back and do that.
I would also say bring a bag of White Claws, but orange slices also do the trick.
It depends on the friends you're trying to make.
Yeah, that's true.
Cool.
I'll take them both.
Yeah. So obviously the Fogs, changed a lot over the years. Where do you see the club going, and what are your goals for 2026 and Bingham next year, and beyond?
I think that when Daniel joined, and they recently, discovering electricity was a really big moment. But the
grace. It's the grace, yeah.
I think that it's been a trajectory leading to this point of inclusivity and really thinking about what does that mean outside of the roots where other teams wouldn't play us because they would, say that we don't want to get AIDS. And they would, to now, where we're living in the political climate where we're at now, we've noticed that it's drawing an intersectionality of people in the whole spectrum of the LGBTQ community, which is creating an environment that allows people to find their sense of power and continuing to, maintain what's working, I think, is probably paramount.
Yeah.
And I don't know, what do you think?
When I think about the direction of the club, I think we're on such an exciting path right now. I mean, to my knowledge, I think we're the first U.S.-based club to send 3 sides to a major IGR tournament, which we did in Boston. We've registered 2 sides already to go down to play in Brisbane in Australia. We're looking at registering a 3rd.
Wow.
That's the level of interest that we have. And it's so...
But it's probably has a bit of like a logistics boundary as well. You're growing so fast. How are you able to accommodate? Are you hiring additional staff, additional coaches?
We believe that we have reached every queer adjacent person in San Francisco at this point. There are only so many, and I think that, we'll probably, unless there's a big influx of folks into the Bay. But I think in a more serious question, or in a more serious response, logistics can be tricky. I think we're fortunate that a lot of the logistics of operating the club have been set in stone for a while. I mean, if we're talking about the basics of booking fields, making sure that everybody gets to practice on the same time, making sure that people are traveling at the same time, we're lucky that they've figured out what works in that respect.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like planning things like, thinking about Bingham and stuff like that, personally, I mean, the stress of trying to pick a t-shirt design is too much for me. Daniel is really good at that.
That's just because I ignore other people's opinions. It makes it really easy.
I mean, look at this awesome
no,
vest,
I meant planning.
No, I mean, I think what we look at with, Bingham is with three sides, the logistics become an issue, right? The governance of the club becomes an issue. How many coaching staff do we have? How do we handle player coaches? Like the team dynamics of like when you have that many
Different
people,
personalities.
not everyone's going to be everyone's best friend. And again,
Yeah.
that's okay. How do you manage that interpersonal conflict as a leadership team, as a group? How do you stay cohesive? Like those to me though, those are such high quality problems when we have seen so many clubs that show up and they have 10 people at a practice. I have been through, some like tougher years on the Fog where it was, we got 9 people and I'm getting a call on a Thursday night and I'm getting a call on Friday being like, hey, can you make this 5-hour drive up to Reading so we can play this team just to have a side.
Yeah.
And, those are tough years. And to me, kind of having been through those years and then coming out now,
You'd rather take.
I will take man, we could use another half of a field to practice on problem. Any day of the week.
Yeah.
And it makes all of those kind of tougher years so worth it to like see all of the people that we're reaching and making a difference on now.
So you mentioned high interest in the team, but I think success has a lot to do with it also. And you mentioned NORAM. Tell us a little bit about that sweet little victory you guys had up there.
It was. So yeah, we went through, we played in NORAM obviously, and we sent 3 teams. And our A side emerged as the champions of the top division.
And just real quick, for those of you without context, NORAM is the North American Inclusive Rugby Tournament hosted by International Gay Rugby.
And it was held in Boston.
In Boston this year.
And I do just want to say, Quentin and the entire team at Boston put on
An amazing
phenomenal tournament.
Yeah.
They're 40 teams over 5 pitches and 4 days. Like the logistics of that, dealing with some of the issues of political changes in the U.S. that happened and funding changes at the last second. They did a phenomenal job, and I know everyone at the Fog, and I'm sure everyone else in IGR is really, really grateful to the work that they did because those are incredibly challenging.
And it was so smooth from beginning to end.
It really,
like,
it
if
truly
there was any issues, like no one knew. It was a great tournament.
It was great. But yeah, so we came in there. We had a great tournament. What I loved though is that we got to play really good rugby against really good teams. Like yeah, we won the tournament, but the quality of rugby from when I started playing in IGR in 2010 to now in 2025, like that is, it's a different game.
Yeah.
I mean, the teams that our B side was playing in the 3rd tier, those would have been top tier teams, 15 years ago. And it's just, it's the growth of the game has been really incredible. But I to your point, I think, like, yes, success helps with recruiting. When you can go and show off a big, shiny trophy and have a nice celebratory social media post, like, it's a little bit easier to go viral on some of those moments than, like, we scored a try.
I think that poses an interesting question because Los Angeles Rebellion is an inclusive rugby team. Fog is an inclusive rugby team. We take people who have never played rugby before, we teach them how to play. And so a lot of times you kind of have to strike a balance between, winning and really, making sure that all of your top players are on the starting lineup and then also making sure that everyone's included. But I think with Fog, since you have so many sides, that's probably a lot easier.
Yeah, it is certainly something we think about and that like we focus on is making sure that everyone is a part of the team. And I think part of that is, yes, our A side is, that first 25 people, those are the ones who are playing those games.
Yeah.
But everyone who's in the club wins that trophy. That's not the A side's trophy. That is the club's trophy. Because that A side
Practices with everyone.
practices
right?
with everyone.
Yeah.
We're running our drills. It's our B side. And I'll be really honest, leading up to that tournament, I was getting a little nervous because our B side was kicking our ass in practice. Like they were, like our A side was like, "Oh, we're good, like we're ready."
Yeah.
It was like
And
a year's worth of resentment.
a year's like, and they were taking it to us, and I was like, "Guys, like, what are we doing here?" And it's like, that makes us better, right?
Yeah.
And having the size makes us better, not running against air, running against people,
Yep.
actual people who tackle you.
Or tackle pads.
Yep.
Yeah.
It makes a huge difference. And so, yes, the success helps breed, recruitment. The recruitment helps breed success. Like it's this virtuous cycle that we've seen.
Awesome.
You also mentioned you guys are gearing up for Brisbane, the Bingham Cup, and you're taking multiple sides. But we have to mention one of your notable alums, Mark Bingham. You guys want to tell us a little bit about Mark Bingham and how he relates to the Fog?
Yeah. So Mark Bingham was one of the earliest players on the Fog. He joined in that first season, played with the team. He was one of the first players, maybe the first player on the team who really knew rugby. He played for 4 years at Cal, was a team captain, won national championships there, and was a gay man and was closeted all throughout his college time, came out after. And, when we would speak to it, when his mom would talk about him, and Alice Hoagland, who's now passed away, she would talk about how he kind of just assumed his rugby career was over the moment he came out. And then he found the Fog, and it was like, I can be both a gay man and out and and a rugby player at the same time.
Athlete, yeah.
This is incredible. And so that was he moved to New York. He was on September 11th, 2001. He was on Flight 93, and so he was tragically killed on that flight, helping retake the cockpit and put that plane down in Pennsylvania instead of it crashing into the White House or the Capitol.
Yeah, and now we have the Bingham Cup, which is obviously named in his honor.
And actually something I knew we'd be talking today, and I assumed we'd talk about Mark, but I actually have his jersey that we still have.
Wow.
I, as kind of one of the longest now tenured members of the club, I have the honor of holding this jersey. It passes along. At some point, it will pass from me to someone else. But this is actually his jersey. He wore number 8. He wore that at Cal. He wore that for us. And so we keep this jersey with us to kind of remember the people who have come before us. We all step into these numbers. One of the beautiful things about rugby is it's not like, oh, I'm number 2, I'm number 12. It's the jerseys are the positions. You step into those jerseys until the next person steps into it. Yeah. And I think it's this really beautiful thing. And so as someone who has played 8 on the Fog, I was stepping into Mark's jersey because he was that first person to wear number 8 for us. Yeah. And so every person who wears number 8 for the Fog forever, that's that same jersey that he wore. As the designs change, as all those things are, that's always his. And you always carry his spirit forward. And I think it's just, for me, it's something that's just incredibly beautiful about the sport. Yeah. So we always keep that with us.
What a great tradition to have. Yeah. That's really cool.
And, Mark Bingham left an incredible legacy. There's now a huge international gay rugby tournament called the Bingham Cup. That happens every 2 years across the world, and I think he would just be so excited and proud to see how many people are involved and how much the community has grown. And I know that every year the club gets together in his honor on September 11th. Can you tell us a little bit about that and that tradition?
We do, and in recent years, we've used it as an opportunity to remember everybody that we've lost as well.
Yeah, and it's sadly a growing list of folks that have been lost over the years. So it started with Mark, but we go forward and just the number of folks who have passed away over the years. We've been a club that's now 25 years old. We've lost folks even just these last couple of years. People who've played with the club for years, people who were early on, and it's a way for us to come together as a community. And so I'd say it's certainly not raucous or rowdy, but I do think it is this moment of remembrance and celebration and reverence for the family that the Fog is. And now it actually happens to coincide kind of near at the end or kind of partway through our Rookie Pathways program. And so I think it's been this moment where people who are coming into this realize, and they see old boys who played and veterans who are coming in for the first time and all of that, and they see oh, this is this long history that I'm joining. It's not just this group. It's not just these Pathways leads who are helping me like kind of pick up the sport for the first time. It's this much broader group and this much broader family that I'm a part of, and they see that care for each other. And I think it's just a really moving moment.
Yeah, that's awesome. Switching gears, Daniel, Garrett informed me earlier that you're actually straight.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
You need to leave.
What do you have to say for yourself?
Get out!
Well, I would love to hear kind of your perspective on being straight and being on a gay rugby team, an inclusive rugby team, and also how you found out about it and what made you join and what made you stay.
Yeah, that's a great question. I obviously played sports growing up. I played rugby for 1 year in college, and then when I came back, I got to move home. I was lucky to get a job back in the Bay Area, and I found a rugby club kind of near where I was working, and I practiced with them. And after about a month, I knew nobody's name. And this was like 2 practices a week, like chalk talk with like a dinner. It was just like trying to break into this. Like, I'm like, this is not. I don't get it. Like,
Yeah, it was very cliquey.
It was cliquey. It was there. It was like this like kind of group had been established, and it was like there wasn't space for me, and that was it. It reminded me a lot of childhood because, like, yes, I grew up doing sports and all of that. I also grew up in a teen opera group. I grew up doing choir, and
Teen opera?
It literally the Peninsula Teen
And
Opera.
choir?
Yeah. We would do English
you sure you're
translations of like operas and full performance and Gold LeMay and the whole thing. And you're not always the most popular person on your football team when you say you've got to miss the playoff game because you have a choir concert.
Yeah.
And so like there was this moment of like I've always kind of, even as I loved sports, there's always been like some element of like tension there and discomfort. And I was kind of feeling that again. And so my work had a rugby mailing list. And so I just put out a message. I was like, hey, I've been practicing with this team. Not sure it's the right fit for me. Who has another, like, does anyone know another club that like maybe would be a good fit? And a partner of one of the guys on the team messaged back and said, hey, you should look at the Fog. My partner plays there, really fun group of guys. You should just go check it out.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, why not? And I showed up to that first practice, and the difference was I was the first person at the field because I got there early because I was terrified.
Yeah.
Like, and I went and, and I show up, I'm putting on my boots, and one guy walks in and says, hey, I've met you before. What's your name? And just introduced himself. And what was your name? And every single person, what was your name? Thank you for being here. And it was like the circle just opened up and said, yeah, we've got spot for one more.
Amazing.
And it was like, and I kind of knew from that moment, it was like, yep, this is going to be it. And like showing up to the Lone Star Saloon in Soma, like
Wait,
4
we
days
used to go to the
later,
Lone Star?
That was our home bar back in
Excuse me?
2010.
For those who do not know, the Lone Star is Bear Bar USA, and please carry on. Actually,
Yeah.
I didn't mean it.
And so, yeah, that's kind of how I know. And it was just like, I can play rugby, and it was like, this is the family that I'd been looking for as a rugby team. And it was like, and it didn't matter. I learned that it was a gay and inclusive club after the fact. It's like, I don't give a shit.
Good.
Like, this is the right place for me.
Inclusivity in action. There you go.
Amazing.
I've actually found it really interesting to talk to Crowley about this because our stories overlap in so many ways, and it surprised me because we come from such very different backgrounds. Like being a gay kid in Mobile, Alabama, I went to this like weirdly militaristic prep school that, classic like blazers and ties, football is religion, which, are y'all from football towns?
No, I'm from Los Angeles, born and
You
raised.
ever visited one?
No, I haven't.
It's tied up, football culture, with the rite of passage of like of coming of age for young men in a way that was immediately obvious to me when I was growing up. That because I was so flouncy. I mean, I had a silk ribbon like the ones that floor gymnasts use, and my parents actually told me that, that
that one.
and I would take it out into my front yard and play with it by myself. The handle had a little radio that would play music, opera, actually. And my father later told me when I was like 18, 19, he was like, yeah, me and my mom were watching you one day, and I turned to her and I said, you know, we got a gay one, right? And she turns
They
to him
clocked
and,
you.
yeah, but my mom, I don't know, for some reason, she turns back, she goes, no, he's just 8. And my dad was like, no.
No.
So Garrett, how did you find out about Fog and what inspired you to join?
Well, I think I, finished college in New Orleans in 2019, and there was not really anything keeping me there. And the person I was dating at the time recommended very strongly that I move out to SF because they had gone to Berkeley, and they really felt like I would find my place there. And so I moved out, to be a copywriter. Did not work out. But after clinging on for dear life for so long, I realized I've been here for like 5 years, and not 5. It was 2022, and I finally realized I was like, I still haven't made any friends here, and I'm an adult.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to make friends? You need common experiences, and I'd never played sports. I was in marching band. I didn't like sports at all. When I came out of the closet, my mom literally told me that if the football team found out, they were probably going to try and kill me. And so the whole idea of rugby was something that I was just like fundamentally unaware of.
Yeah.
But my boyfriend at the time, he was like, look, you need to make friends. You got to get out there. You have all of these issues from your upbringing. And I was like, yeah.
Said it with a southern accent.
Yeah.
Bless your heart.
Well, and he said, look, I used to play, I played rugby with the Steelers in King's Cross, because he lived in London for a while. And he said, I really think you should check it out. I think there's one here. And I looked up the Fog, I found the website, and then I was like, just desperately DMing the Instagram, and I was like, somebody reply and let me know if I can show up. And they did, and I show up. I had no idea. This was like the week before Bingham that year.
Oh, wow.
Well, I was just completely
Right.
unaware of the season. I just showed up at like literally the second to last practice of the whole season, and they're like, we're about to go to Ottawa. What's going on? And I was just like, hi. I said, all right, here, sign the waiver, like do your thing. Second practice, instantly sprained my ankle during the warm up. Humbling, but that's how I got involved. And I stuck with it for a while. And well, I think we've been talking a lot about like family and finding your tribe and things like that. I was so cynical about that whole like family, like, we're here for you, like this is a real thing. And I was like, yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, okay, yeah. We don't know what the fuck.
Yeah.
But it was like I really struggled to settle in for like that whole year. I was just so in my head about just everything that a sport that is as physical as rugby signifies to somebody, because it's an analog to football for me. And I approached this whole thing, I was just like, is this an opportunity for me to discover that I was going to fall in love with something that I could have loved my whole life and never did? Turns out, no. I mean, rugby's great, don't get me wrong, but we have a teammate who, after I think his second match, I was walking to help him carry something to the car, and I was like, so what did you think of that? And just deadpan, looking straight ahead, he said, I didn't know that I had that inside of me. I never had a eureka moment like that, but what I did have was like slowly learning how to let my guard down, because after the first few weeks you're like rolling your eyes like, yeah, okay, whatever, and then you make it to the end of the year and that energy is still there.
Yeah.
And then I was at home one day before practice, and I was thinking about, because at that point I'd been in, it'd been like 4 or 5 years since I'd left home, and I still felt like I was just absolutely alone in the world except for my partner. And it just kind of hit me all at once that they weren't lying.
Yeah.
That this was, these were defenses that I'd built up in my head. And I called Daniel, actually, and do you remember this? I remember
When we went to the Pilsner?
Yeah, we went to the Pilsner. because it had been a year at this point of, at first, people like Daniel, who are naturally like supportive, and they're, you know, taking leadership roles in the club, and they're saying things like, hey, like if you ever need to talk about something, because people could tell I was a weird bitch. But it had gotten to the point where like famously grumpy people on the team that like, I don't know, I feel like that's an appropriate way to describe Steve. Like would reach out and be like, if you ever need somebody, you can talk to me. It was like, oh shit, they're saying that? They don't like anybody. And we met up and we went to our home bar, the Pilsner Inn, and I just like spilled my guts at the table, just about everything that had been going on in my head. Yeah. And it was the most nauseatingly wholesome moment ever, because I start crying as I'm talking, and then Daniel starts crying. And he's just like, I'm so glad that you felt like you could talk to me, because I didn't used to be somebody that people felt like they could approach. And then we stood up and we hugged, and there were just like flowers and rainbows everywhere. And
Very
for both of you.
A very after school special moment.
Yeah, it was so wholesome. And now I'm like Wholesome McGee. Like, I'm a huge fan of it.
That's awesome.
We interviewed Logan Legs from the Quake earlier, and we asked him to ask a question to the Fog. So we're gonna ask it to you guys.
God have mercy.
And then you guys will pass it along to the next team that we're gonna interview. Jack, do you want to do the honors?
What is the hottest rugby position?
I mean, eye of the beholder, obviously.
When you're watching women's rugby, what do you gravitate to?
We can watch all rugby, because they're all very beautiful. I think I got to go with your open side flanker.
Okay.
Shredded.
Kind of like a
Just
forward
fast.
and a back.
Yep, that nice hybrid,
Wild.
like
Thick.
strong, ferocious. Yeah.
Love
Yeah.
it.
Do you agree? Or
Look, anyone that's
little
met me for more than 5 minutes knows that I'm a firm believer, and I think Bortank Hank said this, you got to be 2 something to do something, and you got to be 3 something to be something. So, obviously, big fan of props, but I want to... I think locks deserve some appreciation here, because they are the uncelebrated big boys of the rugby
they're
team.
the most.
They are in the trenches. And thank you. They never get to be in photos because they're always behind something.
Yeah. This is true.
Yeah.
And if you could ask one question of the San Diego Armada Rugby Club, what would you ask?
Which element is number 27 on the periodic table? No, not really. I would ask them. Okay, I'm genuinely very curious what it's like what rugby culture is like in a Navy city, in a military city like that.
Yeah.
Because that's something that's really unique to them that I don't think any of the other West Coast teams have.
They have the Marines, so they play Pendleton. Well,
Right,
we play
right,
Pendleton also, so yeah, that'd be a good one.
No, I've seen that. I mean, over the years, I've definitely seen like certain, moments where it's like, oh, like the Navy's in port, like Armada's really good, or like it's got to be really tough because like your
Drag
team could
her.
get called away at any moment. Like half of your team could just be like, nope, we're shipping out.
Yeah.
Like it's a legitimate, like the logistics of it are fascinating. So I think I love that.
Okay.
Cool. Garrett, Daniel, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having this. This has been a fantastic experience. Thank you.
Absolutely. We had a lot of fun, and it was so interesting to hear about both of your history playing rugby and also the San Francisco Fog Rugby Club. We are so excited to be here in Palm Springs at Rucktacular. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure that you hit that bell to change your notifications to notify all. Follow us at Gay Rugby Podcast on all social media platforms. And remember,
Don't just play the sport.
change the sport.
Thank
you, guys. This episode is brought to you by Hey Sweet Cheeks, where skincare meets sex care for everybody. Feel good, play hard, and take care of your cheeks. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning into another episode of the Gay Rugby Podcast. If you liked this video, do us a favor and subscribe. Hit that bell to change your preferences to notify all, and that way you'll get a notification every time a new episode comes out, which is going to be every Monday. So share this video with a friend, like, comment, and we appreciate the support. We'll catch you on the rugby pitch. See ya.